Hey folks, in today's video we are going to zero the scope on my son's Marlin Model 336. He's got a brand new Vortex Strike Eagle scope there, and we're going to get it zeroed at 150 yards. And I hope that we're going to do this in a way that's going to expend the least amount of expensive and precious ammunition. And what we're going to talk about today is the way that most of us have grown up sighting in a rifle, and that's with just by shooting. And I'll tell you a quick story. When I came back from Vietnam in 1972, I brought with me a confiscated SKS in a mysterious cartridge back then, 7.62 by 39. And it was really hard. You could not find that ammo on store shelves. And so what I bought was handmade and very expensive. And I went to the range with a box of precious ammo, set up at 50 yards, and I wasted most of that ammo not being able to find any rounds perforating my targets, big old targets. And so finally I said, I'm going to move down to 10 yards, and I set up a large target there, and I was able to get a few shots on the large target at 10 yards. And the ones that did hit the paper were all keyholing. And so what I discovered, that the barrel on that SKS was completely shot out. But the lesson there for all of us is when you go to sight in a rifle, you need to start with your first shots up close. So in today's video, we're going to set up this guy here, and his first shot is going to be at 25 yards. So what I do is, and what I suggest that everyone does, is know where your point of impact is at all the ranges down that you will need all the way out to your final 0 point. So for today's video, I need to know where my bullet path is going to strike the target. If I'm zeroed at 100 yards, I need to know, actually, I'm trying to get to zero at 150 yards. And so I need to know what the bullet point of impact is at 25 yards, at 100 yards, and then we'll zero at 150 yards. And so I do that with a ballistics calculator, and we'll talk more about that once we get into the video. And then the last thing I want to talk about are the turret adjustments. This particular scope, the Leupold Freedom, has a turret. It's actually marked right here on the turret. 1 click equals 1/4 MOA. For all practical purposes, an MOA is 1 inch at 100 yards. And so this one is 1/4 MOA. So every time I make a click adjustment on this is the this is the windage turret. Every time I make a click adjustment, it's going to move 1/4 of an inch point of impact at 100 yards. And when I adjust the elevation turret, which is this one right here, it will make an adjustment of 1/4 of an inch in elevation. Now this scope here, the Strike Eagle, it's not marked anywhere. And so we actually had to go look it up. But each click adjustment here and here is 1/2 MOA, or 1/2 inch at 100 yards. So you need to know what that is, and that way when you shoot your first bullet, you need to move it 1.5 inches this way and 2 inches that way. You're going to know how many clicks there are. Now keep in mind, if you're shooting at 100 yards, then 1 click equals 1/4. And let's say this guy here, because this is the one we're going to shoot, 1 click equals 1/2 inch. But when we're shooting at 25 yards, that's 1/4 of the distance of 100 yards. And so 1 click is going to be 1/4 of that 1/2 inch, or 1/8 of an inch. And so depending on what your range is, you'll have to calculate how much a click is going to move your point of impact. So the numbers we need today are a 1/8 of an inch per click at 25 yards and 1/2 of an inch per click at 100 yards. So with that said, I think we can head down range, and you'll get to meet my son if you haven't seen him before. And we're going to do a little bit of shooting. I hope it works out as hoped. Well, I hope my assistant was clear enough on kind of the background of what we're doing, but we are shooting my son's Marlin 336 in 35 Remington, and this is a gun that we gave to him for Christmas last year, right? From his birth year, 2016.
Vintage model.
And he wasn't born in 2016. This is a 1979 JM model, and really nice. I found it in a pawn shop. And if you'd like to see the video introducing this pawn shop treasure, the link is going to be right here. But we are going to shoot Remington core locks because that's what he wants to hunt with. And these guys right here cost me $46 for a box of 20. And so we want to be real frugal in our use of ammunition because at $2.20 or so per shot, we want to optimize our range time. Let me say that.
Grandkids may want to go to college, right?
That's right, because grandkids may want to go to college. So you're going to put a shot down range? All right, here we go. Hi, George here, and welcome to Tales from Target Suite, where I'll share my perspective on guns and shooting, and we'll have an adventure or two that'll make even a grown man smile. And that first shot that Austin took was the bell that told disaster, and that's TOLL, by the way. But we couldn't get this rifle scope ammunition combo to shoot worth beans. We were all over the map and things kept moving around, and so there was no way we were going to film a video about optimizing the process of sighting in your scope. And so with that said, that was 2 days ago. And so I came out yesterday with my rifle, very similar rifle, with a different scope, of course, and using that same Remington ammo. I tried again without Austin because he had got a call and he had to go back to Seguin. And so I was really disappointed, hoping I could finish this video with him. I thought he was a natural, but he had to go. And so yesterday I tried again and this had the same problem. I had large groups, inconsistent point of impact. And so again, I just call that a failure. And so now we're down to 2 rifles that couldn't shoot the same box of ammo. And so I took the remaining cartridges back to the house. I pulled the bullets and measured the powder. And as you can see, I got some pretty inconsistent powder charges. So last night and today I've put together some factory ammo. I put together some handloads with Sierra Pro Hunter bullets, 200 grain round nose and Varget powder. And I've shot them across the chronograph. And you can see that we're getting about 2,150 feet per second with 2 shots across the chronograph. The big orange, the lab radar. So with that said, let me set up and I'm going to shoot 1 shot at 25 yards and then we're going to talk a little bit more about this process. All right, let me take some measurements here. Okay, now that the target is marked, I can actually take some measurements here. And the reason that I needed the ballistics calculator, or the lab radar, was because I needed to put some information into the ballistics calculator. And this is a Hornady ballistics calculator, and so I needed to put in the ballistic coefficient of the bullet, the velocity, which I picked off a lab radar, weight of the bullet, the interval. In other words, I wanted to measure trajectory every 25 yards. And that's what we've got right here. We've got trajectory. This is the column of trajectory at 25, 50, and so forth. And then very important is the height of your sighting device above the center line of the barrel. And so on Austin's Vortex, we're at 1.7 inches above the bore. Okay, so let's measure this. 1 1/8 inches right. We'll just call it 1 inch up. Well, there's our shot. And we are about 1 inch high above the X, and we are 1 1/8 inch to the right of the X. And so in order to zero, since our scope clicks, as our assistant said back at the house, every click on this scope moves the point of impact 1/2 inch at 100 yards. Well, we're 1/4 that amount at 25 yards, and so every click is going to move the point of impact 1/8 of an inch, which is 1/4 of 1/2 inch. Hope that's not too confusing. So in order to move 1 1/8 inches to the left, we need to move 9 clicks. And in order to go down, we don't need to go down a full inch because according to the Hornady ballistics calculator, we are supposed to be at 0.1 inch. We'll call it 1/8 of an inch above the X. And so we need to move down by 7/8 of an inch or 7 clicks. So we're going to adjust the scope 9 clicks left and 7 clicks down. And then we're going to shoot a group at 100 yards and see how that does. But the first thing I'm going to do is to move 7 clicks down. You see the U for up, the arrow is that way, so if I rotate counterclockwise, that's going to move the point of impact up. So I'm going to move 7 clicks down. Okay, and now we need to move 9 clicks to the left. So you see the R. If I move in the direction of the arrow, which is counterclockwise, then I'm going to move the point of impact to the right. And so I need to move clockwise 9 clicks. Okay, let's shoot that group at 100 yards and see what it looks like. Okay, well, it's a very nice group we've got there at 100 yards. And you can see that the course adjustment we made at 25 yards was good enough to get us on our target at 100 yards. And so now, in order to get to our Hornady ballistics calculator says we need to be at 2.1 inches above X in order to be on at 150 yards. And so we need to move down. Here's the center of our group. We need to move down 1 inch to get to 2.1, and we need to move over 1 5/8 inches to get to the center line of the target. And so that translates, since we're at a 1/2 inch per click, we need to move 2 clicks down and 3 clicks left. Unfortunately, we can't accommodate that 1/8 of an inch because it's a very coarse adjustment on this scope. So we'll move it 3 clicks left. That should put us pretty close to right there. So let's make that adjustment, and then we'll ring some steel. Okay, let's make those adjustments. Down 2 clicks. And left 3 clicks. Okay. Okay, I've got the target camera set up down at the 150-yard steel, so you'll get to see the shots real time. Let's shoot some more shots. What do you say? I think we're pretty close with just the 25-yard shot, the 3 100-yard shots, and then 3 on the 150 yards. So that's 7 rounds. We got pretty close to 0. But let's shoot some more rounds for fun. What do you say? All right, let's walk down there and take a look at that close up. Well, that's not bad for a lever gun at 150 yards. And I know we've spread out a little bit here, but I'm going to blame that on my shooting, because you guys saw the 100-yard group, which was just at an inch. And so it's harder to resolve this big target. But nonetheless, our left to right dispersion is less than 2 inches. And so I'm pretty satisfied that we have gotten, in general, where we need to be. Now, my son may choose to fine-tune this, and that's perfectly okay. But anyway, what have we demonstrated? If you'll first of all start with a solid shooting rest, and make sure that your scope and your bases are tightened properly so you don't have variables there. And then if you'll start close up and from a good rest, shoot around, make your adjustments based on what the ballistics calculator is going to tell you where you should be at 25 yards or 10 yards, whatever it is. But the closer you get, the less resolution you have in your target. And so the 25-yard worked for me because I knew I was going to be on that target at 25 yards. So 25 yards, 1 shot, 100 yards, 3 shots, and then we shot 3 shots here. That gives us 7 rounds that got us here. And then we had some fun, some rounds to grow on. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.